Hey, what's going on, Baltimore Ravens fans? Welcome back to the Baltimore Perspective. On your way in the door, go ahead and touch the like button, hit subscribe if you've never subscribed before, and touch the notification bell so you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk. So, back on location, where are we? Back in the fridge, checking out what we already have in house, who should stay, who should go, and who it's okay to let walk away. So when we jump to the defense side of the ball, we made some big decisions offensively, but when we look at defense, I think the defense has a lot of question marks, especially in the context of who should go. But I think that's just primarily because the defense has been so expensive, but has not rendered the type of results we would like. So let's jump down into the trenches, the bottom shelf of the fridge. And down there we got Justin Meta BK, question. Don't know what his health status is going to be. So I think right now it's 50-50. When you look at the next position, you got Travis Jones, just got a new contract. Of course we keep him. And then if all things Broderick Washington is healthy, he's in house. You got Aeneas Peoples. Interested to see what this new administration does with him. Brent Urban and Jenkins, who I think signed a one-year extension. And so when we look at forgot about CJ Okoye. And there may be some lesser included names, but those are the main guys from this past season. So guys who I think can just go. Brent Urban is a free agent. I think it's time. He's done a great job filling in and stepping up. But in all honesty, it's time. It's time. He's had a great career for where he was drafted and for what his contributions were. But I think it's time for the Baltimore Ravens to move forward without Brent Urban. He can't be that guy who we just let hang around and just, oh, okay, he's still available, let's bring him back. I think we have to go with some upside. All right. I think that when we look at, let's go with Aeneas Peoples. Definitely, I think he's worth keeping. You know, he was a 6th round draft pick from last season. There was some excitement around him, but I just don't think he got opportunity this past season, whether he was too small or too inexperienced. But he does have a talent base and a skill set that I think that the Baltimore Ravens can utilize this next season. So hang on to Aeneas Peoples. No matter what we draft, hang on to Aeneas Peoples. All right? I think that when we look at a guy like a CJ Okoye, he has metrics that are undeniable. He's what you call a freak. 6'6", 370. And when I looked at his measurables last season, I said, that can't be right. He can't be 370 pounds. But when I checked, I had to check 3 or 4 sites, and 3 or 4 sites said the same thing. Now, he may come in a little less, which will probably make him a little more mobile. But I think that if he gets stronger and plays with power and strength, being that size and having some athleticism, I think he could be a real contributor to the Baltimore Ravens. So I think you hang on to CJ Okoye. You don't find guys lying around his size just anywhere. And because he's already been a part of the NFL for one season, already in-house, I think you hang on to him. When you look at Broderick Washington, I think that it's time for him to depart. He's under contract, but I think it's time to put him on the street. Not that he's a bad player. He just didn't bring to the table what he brought before he got his deal. And I'm not saying he stopped playing well because he got paid. I just have not seen the return on the investment. Now, his deal isn't astronomical. He's not making double-digit, millions. I think he's around 6 million, something like that, 5 million. And I think from what I remember, you can save somewhere around 4 million if you put him on the free agent market. And I think let's do that. Let's do that. And so then that would leave the Baltimore Ravens right now with the guys we keep under contract if you let Brent Urban go and Broderick Washington that keeps us with Jones, a questionable Meta BK, CJ Okoye, and Aeneas Peoples, and Jenkins. I think he played, that being Jenkins, I think he played well enough to stay. He doesn't cost a whole lot. He was good against the run, and so I think you keep him. So even if we draft somebody, I think we hold on to 6. Now, I know it's too early for roster building, but I'm just going through the fridge. When we jump outside to the OLB position, right now, there's Ajabo, Adiza Isaac, Mike Green, Kyle Van Noy, Tavius Robinson, and Draymond Jones. I could be missing somebody, but those are the guys I can call off the top of my head. I think guys you can just let walk. You don't have to put up a fuss or a fight. I think it's time to let Van Noy go. He's done a great job being a Raven, a good leader, probably a good mentor. But I think it's time to open up that spot for some upside, more upside. I think it's time to just move on from David Ajabo. Although, if Mentor believes he can get something out of Ajabo, I could see, and this sounds crazy, but I could see him sticking around on a low-end deal. Because if he was there when Mentor was at Michigan, he knows him. But for me personally, if I'm looking to see what we need to move on from, David Ajabo has to go. David Ajabo has not become a fan favorite. He has not done a whole lot in his 4 seasons in Baltimore, and I think it's time for him to just get a fresh start somewhere else. And so with those 2 departures, it opens up the door for a trade for an edge rusher or a big-time free agent signing and picking somebody in the draft. And so, because right now in the fridge, if we move on from those 2, that leaves us with Adisa Isaac, who is unproven, Mike Green, who shows some potential, Draymond Jones. Now, he doesn't have a contract. He's a free agent. But I think he's worth retaining. He showed some things last year that we didn't have. Toughness, a willingness to get in your face, a willingness to mix it up. And that's something we just didn't have in Baltimore. And so I could see Draymond Jones sticking around. And Tavius Robinson, who's in his last season. Those will be the 4 we have in-house right now. Those are the 4 we keep in the fridge. So up front, interior and outside, we could have as many as 11 or 12 players when we look at free agency at the draft. But right now, we're just assessing the fridge. Inside linebacker position. This is an area that has the most question marks, or a lot of question marks, maybe not the most. Roquan will definitely be back. There's no real way to trade him and not take a huge hit. And there's no way to really put him on the street and it benefits you, right? Because if you put him on the street early, I think his cap hit is somewhere between $18 to $20 million. If you cut him June 1st, you don't get the advantage of using that money that's freed up until after June 1st. And so I could see a restructured contract, something like 4 years, 60. I know that makes you frown up, but 4 years, 60 brings his number down to $15 million a year. Guarantee what he has left. So I don't know how much guaranteed money he's already been paid, but I know he's going into a 3rd year of that 5-year deal. So just guarantee what he's already owed, or you want to give him a little bonus, whatever. Just get him to sign the deal, get that cap number low. And I think that under this new administration, new coaching, new scheme, I think he could be very, very serviceable. I don't know who his running mate is going to be. Trent Simpson is in the last year of his deal. When it comes to using his athleticism, he does a great job. But other things he is not as great at are often highlighted from game to game. And so, again, new administration, new coaching scheme, a new philosophy, maybe he flourishes. But right now, he is the running mate for Roquan because there is nobody, because Teddy Buchanan will not be ready to go, and he may not be ready to go the entire season. And so I think that's the 1 and 2. So I think we just roll with that. Jay Higgins, not sure about, and Hummel, I think you can let walk. because I think that they will draft a linebacker in this draft. And so I think that's what we're looking like in the interior. I think we only keep 4. And then maybe place a couple of dudes on the practice squad. When we jump to the secondary, what's in the fridge? At the safety position, you got Malachi Starks and you got Kyle Hamilton. And then behind those dudes, you got Lloyd Gilman and Adarius Washington. And Adarius Washington has definitely become a fan favorite in Baltimore. I thought Lloyd Gilman played well, but I think you're going to have to choose between those two. I don't think you're going to be able to retain both. Maybe, but I don't think so. And so, because Lloyd Gilman is familiar with Mentor and Mentor is familiar with him, I think he gets the job. I'm cool with that. He'll be the 3rd safety, and I think you look into the draft to add that 4th safety. So I think that's what we should keep. That's who we should depart with. And I think you give Adarius Washington an opportunity to go make money in another city. If Adarius Washington comes back, I don't have a problem with that either, because he is a dog for real. When we jump outside, which is the biggest of all the questions, is what do we do at corner? Right now, in-house, in the fridge, we got Nate Wiggins, Chidobe Awuzie, free agent, Marlon Humphrey, big question mark, TJ Tampa, and the long-forgotten Longer Bean and Bilal Coney, because they were both injured. I may be missing somebody, but that's who I can recall off the top of my head. Nate Wiggins is staying, of course. Chidobe Awuzie and Marlon Humphrey. I think that if you can get Awuzie to return as the veteran in the secondary, I think you see if you can get that done. But I'm super okay with upgrading. I'm okay. If he walks, I'm cool with it. But I think it's time to stop the debate of whether we move Marlon Humphrey to safety or keep him at corner. Does he play primarily nickel? I think it's just time. You know, you can definitely see his skill set decline. He's not a good enough tackler at this point to be, close to the line of scrimmage necessarily. I think he could be more of a free safety, kind of like what Jalen Ramsey is doing. But Jalen Ramsey is elite, or was an elite corner. Marlon Humphrey was only a good corner. And so I think you may need to cut your losses. Go ahead and release him. Take the cap hit, save the $7 million that adds to our cap space, and then let's just keep rolling. Right? We spend a lot of time trying to keep Ravens when it's time for them to go. And a lot of times it doesn't pan out. So Marlon Humphrey can go. Awuzie can go. And then that leaves us with Nate in-house, Bilal Coney in-house, who I'm high on, in fact. If he's recovered from the lower leg injury, I'm cool with TJ Tampa. I want to see what this new administration can do with Tampa. All the metrics he has. Now, he doesn't have elite speed, but he has all the tools. He's long, he's athletic, he's big. And so I want to see. But there is some other corners in this free agency class that I think the Baltimore Ravens should write a check to. And we'll talk about that. But remember, we can't add anything until we get rid of what needs to go. And so that's my thoughts, man. You guys let me know. You guys jump in the fridge along with me. Drop in the comment section who should stay, who should go, who you okay with walking. And be careful. Don't add any commentary about who we should add yet. That's another conversation. But that's this version of On Location. We've cleaned some old out and got some staples. And now we can move forward. But until next time, I'm out.